We live now, fellas. We live now. We just witnessed this S21 Unpacking Event. I was correspondent on there. I was being a very good correspondent on there. So your fellas, y'all get to speak your opinions on it. So what I mean, we're gonna start with Michael Pepper Tech first. What's your opinions on it?
Honestly, I would suggest that somebody picks up like a Note 20 Ultra instead.
And your reasons?
You can pick one up for half the price of like the S21 Ultra, and you still have expandable storage. Most of the
Exactly.
specs this
No
year
SD
were
card
just
slot.
like minor shifts.
And it's just bullshit. Yeah, so Skull Playlist, I send you a link. Come on in, come on in. I just send you the play. I just send you the link. It said you say that short hell. Now, Don, get your belt back up on here. Now, tell me your opinions. I know you ready to go all out. You got the energy and stuff for lying and stuff.
Well, I think that you got some cash to drop. I would do it. If the Note 20 Ultra is on your radar, if you like the square design, then do it. Otherwise, it's a complete upgrade to do this. But I'm going to wait till the S21 FE because I know the price is going to be the same as the S20 FE, and that's a win in my book.
That is a win. And that S21, do y'all have the specs, the prices, and the ranges for it? I mean, speak on that first, Mike. On that.
So $11.99, $12.49, and $13.79 are the prices on the S21 Ultra, and that's 128, 256, and 512. But the real killer is, unless you are buying unlocked, there's silver and black are the only option.
That's just insane.
So the colors, like the other colors they announced, you have to go straight to Samsung and buy unlocked. So if you want to do like the buy one get one deals like the carriers have, I mean that matte black, man, that looks sick, but I mean, I guess you could always buy whatever you want and put like a D brand skin on there. You know.
And Don, your opinion on that? What just on Michael Pepper? What Michael Pepper just said?
Ridiculous. The FE is going to have all the colors. It's going to be the polycarbonate back, but it's going to have all the colors. Again, it's going to be $699. I don't see why everybody wouldn't want that. But the Ultra, if you can do it, do it. The black is looking good. Yeah.
Could just look at this black right here on this bad motherfucker boy right here. Woo! Look how sharp it is. Even though I tried to clean it, you know what I mean? It's hard to clean the fingerprints off of this motherfucker. I tell you that right now.
Half the keynote was the same as last year's.
Yeah.
The COVID keynote. Like the whole multi-camera thing. That was like the Filmic Pro announcement from the iPhone 11 2 years ago, basically. And LG has been doing that. Motorola did that. HTC did that back in the day. I think Huawei was one of the first ones that did that after the people from Nokia moved over to them. And the whole S Pen thing is a joke. Like, you can get the regular S Pen, but you can't get the Pro model unless you want to wait. So you just get a regular old like stylus that imitates your finger, Unless you want to wait to get the Bluetooth features, which who knows when they're going to do that. Is that going to be August, you know?
By the
And
time the
you don't
C3 will
you
be
don't
out,
get this.
fuck out of here. And by the time, yep. I see you. Damn, you got that too. Let's do some pin profiles like this. Wave the wand. Take a photo. It fell out my hands.
I got the
And that's
bronze,
all.
and everybody teased people because they said it was pink. I'm colorblind, so it looks bronze to me. I don't see the red in it.
But some people oversee the color of that one too. That's all that is. And Don, you got any opinions on this? Because I'm about to put you all with a strong question. But to put both of you all with a strong question. Matter of fact. Okay.
At least.
Because I got something wrong.
At least this right here. Oop, if I can get it. Where you get all that junk that comes up against it is gone.
Yo, y'all got that right here, right now, Mike. Look at right here. All it's all right here and here. I'm gonna have to take a Q-tip and get between
microphone
that. You know what I mean?
Right up against that corner.
Right. Exactly.
Right, but
and
like I said, you can cop one of these for like $450, $500 for the 128. And
exactly.
So.
And go ahead and rock with that.
The FE gonna have pen support? When it comes
to Ultra is the only one that they're...
Get a pen support. Go right ahead, Mike.
I mean, technically, you can buy any stylus and use it. You just don't get the Bluetooth, like, remote features. But then again, to trigger camera, all you need is any Bluetooth headset that has a volume up and down. Set your volume for trigger.
Right. And Mike, they say your finger's echoed. Turn on your volume or EQ it down.
I don't know how I'm echoing because I have earbuds on.
Maybe it's your earbuds too.
Could be. Let me see something.
Okay.
I can't get the S Pen to come out of this phone.
And now the echo got bad. Try to talk now since you shut it down. Nah, no more echo, because that's when you put it into the case. That's all. No SD card support. So, no SD card support. I pull up this phone. Tell me the difference between that S21 and this old one. This one that started the no SD card slot shit for Samsung. This is the first one.
Can you imagine all the people taking 8K video and they lose all that storage like in the 128 gig model? Still echoing on my end.
Still echoing on your end? I said I need earbuds. You know what I mean?
Let's see. Is the echo gone?
Hey, dog, you are funny, dude.
Damn it.
You see this coming? Oh, man. Don trying to fix his joint right now. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you some deep questions and stuff like that. The phone of the year for you was the Pixel 5, right?
It was. Until I bought a different phone.
Until you bought a different phone. And what made you change your mind about that, and what's the difference?
Okay, so the Pixel 5 is my Android phone of the year, but I picked up the 12 mini. And I was surprised how good my battery life has been as far as the size of the battery and the fact that it's only a 22, 27 milliamp hour battery. So if you think about it, 18-watt charging on that would be like 36 watts on the Note 20 Ultra because the battery capacity being smaller. So even if the thing gets me 7-8 hours of screen on time, I can plug it in and charge it back up in a car ride. So,
wow.
You know, and I like the portability. The cameras on this, with the exception of there being no telephoto, are as good and better than like the 11 Pro Max, where because you have the HDR video, the HDR photos improved, the portrait mode is improved, the selfie camera for HDR and selfie portraits and the night mode and everything.
Right. Mike, do you have a computer on in the back?
No.
Mike, do you have a computer on?
No.
Because it said, what the hell, 7 said you're still kind of like echoing.
Let me come back. I'll come back on a different device and see if that's what's going on.
Okay.
How do I sound, guys?
So you sound good. You sound good. So here's the deal.
I just have to say something real quick. Philly, this is Samsung's day. This ain't Apple's day. This is Samsung's day.
And you see,
we need to keep it about
got me
Samsung.
Cracking up. You see the comments of Big Dog?
No, I don't see that.
He said, "Don broke ass ain't buying shit." Don's a bitch. You'll get with him on that later on inside the chat. That's all. Let's just keep it going.
No, I can get whatever device I want.
And I want to tell you this: S21 compared to this. You know what I'm saying? Compared to this old device. I mean, not the Ultra, the other two. Don't you think we're getting ripped off for our monies and we're not getting none of those extras in it?
Is that the Note 4?
No, that's the S6.
Oh, the S6? Yeah.
Look, it just only had the volume and only had
I don't think we're getting ripped off.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting ripped off. I think it's just the whole game has changed. And it's going to keep changing. So get on board or get off.
Right, exactly. Yep.
No more chargers in the box. It's a bunch of bullshit. And it's going to keep on that way.
Let's see, my joint is my joint's echoing. This is me as echoing. Let me see if I can get on from another phone. Let me see. I turned it down and everything, I turned it down. Let me see if I could go through the EQ, the music games and stuff. How that sound to you now? How you sound? I'll sound now. I turned down.
You sound great. It's everybody else that's echoing.
Right.
I just wanted to say real quick that I've been enjoying the iPhone 11 Pro, but when I get next to somebody at work that has a Note 10 Plus, the screen is just it's so good on the Samsungs. It's just you forget when you get away from it how good they are.
Right. Mikey's back. Mikey's back. Anyone else you got the link they're welcome to join the chat. They're welcome to join the chat. So Mikey, what we were just speaking about too, I want your opinion. Can you compare the S6 to that phone with the stuff that we're not getting inside the damn box? I can. And no SD card slot. That's one of the first ones. When they first start copying Apple did the same thing before this phone. Then the 6 did the same thing.
Didn't the S6 also still have a 1440p display?
Yep, it displays right here. And right here, you only can put a SIM card in here. You can't even put an SD card in this. So this is the one that they revolutionized. This is the first phone that Samsung revolutionized off of Apple, started biting off Apple's nuts.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when it started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the difference right there. So what's your opinion about them doing that instead of being their own? I want both your opinions on that. We need to make them face the music.
I mean, every company tends to copy.
We just lost you.
Am I back?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
Copying the good points, Terry, is not the problem. I think that's what Michael's saying. They just all need to keep improving on what the customer wants. No, I don't know any customers that really want to not have a charger in the box. I was looking on Samsung's website, and I was looking at getting the S20 FE, and then I said, well, the 21 will come out soon, and the charger for the 45-watt charger is $50. That's a lot for a charger at.
You might as well get an Anchor, one of them 45-watt chargers. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's all. So they trying to nickel and dime off of us every chance they fucking got. That's what they're trying to do.
And thank God for Anchor. With the MagSafe stuff on the Apple, Anchor is coming out with all kinds of things, so you don't have to buy that bullshit if you don't want to.
Right, exactly.
I think Anchor even has
what about Zombie with the
a MagSafe charger deal. It's not, it's not proprietary, but it's but it works.
And I just saw one the other day. It was a 65 watt. It was 65 watt out of the USB-C and up to, I think, 20 out of the regular USB Anchor charger for $25 on Amazon. Normally 50, but they always have deals.
Yeah.
And so you could charge your MacBook, like the new MacBook Pro, and your phone with the single charger, and just bring that with you.
Right,
and
wow.
if you or just one cable, or just swap out the USB-C to Lightning and do that. If you use the newer cable. I mean, I have this big ass. Well, it's being used right now, but it's a 20,000 milliamp hour charger that I bought on Amazon for $40. That has 60 watt through the USB-C, 18 watt through the regular USB, and up to 10 watt through wireless Qi charger on the top of it. And you can use all of them at the same time.
Put the link up inside my chat. Put the link up for that. I would like to get. I'll be very interested in it. It got more power in this. This is 10,000 right here. This is 10,000. So everybody can go ahead. They could go ahead and try to get that product. That product is very important, especially if it hooks up to a computer. I see Don smoking and fucking chilling like a mech.
I'll put it in the private chat so then you can add it.
So I don't have hard for a living.
I don't have your stream open for some reason.
Right. Okay, you got you right here.
Well, Terry, what do you think? What do you think compared to the Note 20 Ultra? What are you getting for your money when you get the S21 Ultra?
S21 Ultra, from what Alan was talking about, the SD card slot. You know what I mean? You get the unlimited space with it. And it's like they bumped it up from 12 GB to 16 GB. It's what they bumped it. That's what they bumped it up to. You know what I mean? And you can still use the 12 MP camera too. So you have a lot of stuff. I haven't really got the full fundamental specs of it yet. You know what I mean? There's so much been going on in these chats and so many things. So I'll probably get the real specs later. So I mean, that 16 MP and that camera is pretty dope at what they have. You know what I mean? And the type of in the certain videos that Alan would talk about, which Alan could come in here and talk about it.
What do you think about the space zoom being improved? The space zoom being improved over the S20 Ultra.
I think it's the best. I think it's good.
Yeah,
that tells you what's going to be coming to the Note 21.
As I recall, they take 10 digital photographs, combine them into one on the space zoom, so you're going to get a lot better picture, a lot better sharpness than you did on last year.
I can't wait to test it. That's what I can't wait to do. That's one feature I cannot wait to test. And what you gonna look up? Because I was trying to go inside the chat and grab that joint, but I had to get off of here for me to do that, or I can do it from the phone. So I went ahead and copied. So you go inside the chat, you could probably put it in there yourself. If I go in here and start messing with it on here, G style, it's gonna fuck up the whole thing.
What's weird to me was how last year they went to the 10 megapixel selfie camera when they had a 40 megapixel on like the Note 10 Plus and the previous models. And then, so the things that I see this year, but you'd have to even know how to use it, is 12-bit 4K 60 raw video. But you have to have software that can edit that. You have to know how to edit that. Shit. I mean, I tried exporting 8K footage from my camera, and the built-in editing software couldn't even edit clips together. So you have to have one long clip. So like, if I want to shoot, 10 seconds here and there and a couple minutes of 8K footage here and there and put it all together, most software can't handle it unless you're paying for software. Even like, I mean, on the Mac side, if you use Final Cut, yeah, it can handle it. Adobe can handle it, but like the free software, like I like to use, that can handle everything else, nope. You gotta pay for. A lot of times, you end up paying for encoding software. So, if you're using a Windows computer, for it to even show up, 4K footage was like 99 cents from the Windows Store to encode it. I don't know what the 8K crap they're going to try to sell you is going to be. Nobody's going to be able to use it. I think it's more the idea that if you use it and you can grab the photos from it is cool, but they did that last year. I think the telephoto is kind of neat that they did both the 3 times and the 10 times in an actual, like, it's not digital, it's actual optical zoom. But what about between those ranges? What does it do, like, after the 3x and before the 10? It's still cropping. It's still got to be somehow
compressed,
either cropping in on the 3x up until you get to the 10x, or
I'm hoping the video will be more like Apple. I'm hoping the video will make an improvement. Not that the video's been bad on the Note 20 Ultra, but you guys chime in. But I think the video could stand a little improvement, software wise, just to make it look a little bit better.
Yeah, like when you zoom in and you get that, the choppiness when it goes between lenses, and you get the change in the color and things like that, where iPhone for a couple of years has been really good at the whole transition and making it seem like one lens. And there was actually discussion, and part of that is if you look at how Samsung does like the lenses are like this.
Wow.
And now they've added another one on there. The reason that I'm using my iPhone right now, or I'd show you. The reason that the iPhone, that they did the triangle like they did, is they were able to angle them in slightly. So essentially the line of sight from those lenses, because they're angled like they are and they're close like they are, those are actually configured in the factory so that any little discrepancy in the lenses all line up. So essentially it's like shooting through one lens. And that's why they did the triangle. And that's why you get the better kind of like, you don't, with this, if you're using the middle lens and then you go to one or the other, if you think about it, it'd be like 3 cameras lined up at different points. And so unless they angle them just right,
it's a good
and
point.
because they're in a line, you're going to have more distance from the top to the bottom one than if they're in a triangle. They can be closer together. And that was part of the things that they worked on and part of the things that they thought of. And you add a 4th lens in there, it gets really complicated. Imagine next year when like the S22 Ultra is out with 6 lenses and they have like 4 different you're gonna have like a 3x, a 5x, a 7x, and a 10x lens or something on there. It's gonna get really complicated. What I wish they would do, because we saw Google do this with the Pixel, and I think this would be a brilliant move. Why don't they just put one lens that that's a large enough sensor and just crop in on that as you zoom? So essentially use their AI and then you don't lose any quality, and you don't lose angle, and you don't change color because it's just one lens. And because you already have enough light, you'd have more space for a large sensor if it can take up that whole space than multiple sensors. And essentially you could have a sensor on there the size of like a full frame DSLR and just pack a good lens on it and use the software. We've seen other companies do it, and they do it really well. And stabilization, because you're not talking about some tiny lens that some micro movement's going to affect. And yeah, you're zooming in, so movement will affect that. But because you're starting with such a large lens, it would essentially be zooming in afterwards. So the software is doing the zooming if you need to zoom in, but it's still, because you'd be starting with such a larger sensor and higher resolution, it wouldn't be affected as much as some of like the digital zoom now. And most people don't even realize, and you can test this, if you don't have perfect light, your telephoto lens is useless anyways, because it crops in on the main sensor because that has the best light absorption. Every smartphone does it. So you're paying for some. So like Google, when they finally added the telephoto, it was a joke because essentially they've been using the same camera all along. They threw that on there, but you hardly ever use it unless you have perfect studio lighting or perfect outdoor lighting. Crops in on your. So they literally are using the same company sensor and the same one, like the IP586 or whatever it was, from the Pixel 2 all the way to the Pixel 5. Yep. But they've improved software, and they do stacking and things like that. And the whole big deal that they made this year about like the 9 pixel binning with the S21 series, they did that last year. That was the same thing, the whole 108 down to 12. Exactly the same thing. It's just rephrasing. They pulled an Apple this year is what they did. Even like we have the best glass ever, and like we have the like you stole it from Tim Cook's mouth, like literally, like Samsung's down scrapping up the crumbs off the ground, and they didn't have to do it. They didn't. And what's a shame is I felt like this year's presentation was better than last year's, but it was still boring. I almost fell asleep. I'm like half an hour in, I'm like, just get to the point. You don't need to explain to me how you made that phone look black, like how you coded it. You don't need to explain to me all the things you explained last year with the exact same presentation.
I think that's the COVID stuff though, because I went to the S10 event. Easy sent me there for some live streaming, and it was dynamic. You know, it was good. They had all the normal people, but now they got different people. And I'm not just talking about DJ Co not being there, but I wish he would come back. But yeah, the COVID thing is restricting everything with regard to the people they use in the live events. It's just these live events just suck because of COVID. They're not able to do all the things they would before. And I think that goes for all of the live stream events, not just this year, not just Samsung.
They don't have no soul in it.
I don't mean to compare everything to Apple, but like the only other events we really get are from OnePlus and Apple, and OnePlus doesn't really do anything.
And Google,
like it, and Google, but it's kind of iffy. But Apple literally this last year built rooms for a house to do their presentation inside a big ass almost like a what do you call it? Like where planes fly, you know, where you store planes. What do they call it?
A hangar.
Like a hangar, basically. They built like a big. Wow. They had. What was it? 850 employees use the iPhones, and like iPad to do 3D scans of their rooms in their house, and then they took the different ones of that and reproduced those so that they could determine all the variations for like the HomePod, so that it would sound good and like if you had one in one room and one in the other, they'll listen to each other so they don't go over each other. Like, if Apple's gonna spend like 1.3 billion dollars to do that, Samsung has no. I mean, Samsung could have made it look beautiful. They could have flown some drones around somewhere and like done something. I mean, they're international, so they could have just had different footage from all over the place. They could have done something different.
I was watching Unbox Therapies live because I didn't think Samsung was streaming it live. Then I switched over to Samsung, but Unbox Therapy, Lou was talking about how detailed though they really dived in depth on the Buds, the Buds Pro, showing you how, with a lot of detail. So you got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, I think it was
three layered, computer animation stuff, but they did kind of explain to you, and that might be a good segue into the Buds Plus. What's going on with that? I was impressed with that more than the phone.
Oh yeah, the Buds Pro,
$199. That's a competitive price. I think they're gonna sell a few of those.
The only concern I have is Soundcore dropped their version at $139, but everywhere you can find it right now for $99. And
yeah,
like the customization
Anchor.
for their like the transparency mode.
Yeah.
Where you can select outside, inside, voice, like customize it to those.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because obviously you have different levels of like low level versus like voice you'll still hear if you're tuning it for outside and all sorts of things. So
well, some of the big tubers were still wearing the Galaxy Beans. And I'm like, what? Why? Because they sound terrible compared to like even the Buds Plus from last year. But they said, the thing that's good about the Samsung wireless earbuds is that the pairing is so perfect that they don't even mind. Like I was thinking of Michael Fisher's video on the Beans. He did a video at the end of the year where he was shining the light on all the things that he wasn't able to cover because he has so many other things that he's trying to cover. And the Beans was one of them. And he said, I still pop them in because they're just so convenient. They don't fit right. They don't sound great, but he still uses them. So I think the Buds Pro was a needed thing this year, and I would like to pick up some of those. I mean, they look good. They've got the seal in the ear again, like the Beans didn't have. They're going to fit right. I think they're going to sound right. And for the $199 price point, that's right.
I'm curious about, and I'm actually looking this up real quick, is the battery life.
Yeah.
Because that's because what I was impressed with was like the Soundcore ones was 7 hours with ANC on. And 23 with the case, so you get an initial like 2 charges and then a couple, and wireless charging in the case and some things like that. Like, I think that's going to be a hard, and I hope, I'm trying to find, why is that not showing up? I'm trying to find, because one of the complaints with the Buds Live was trying to pull those suckers out of your ear. And wow. I think with the Buds Pro, they put like a dimple, and they made it more back kind of like the Buds and the Buds Plus were, where it was a bigger shape and filled more of the ear, so it'll be easier to take in and out. But I think that's one of the reasons that I'm wearing my AirPods Pro, and I think that's why Apple did the stem, was like you can take that in and out, puts the microphone closer to the mouth, but to see them including more microphones in there,
3,
I hope that their call quality is better, because like I found $50 pair of earbuds that sounded better than like my Buds and my Buds Plus did, and that was pretty...
Wow.
Because that's a crucial thing, especially with people being at home, right? Because, like you said, the whole transitioning between devices. But what irks me is, like, you still have to go in and tap. There's not that, like, I pick up my tablet and it switches over, I pick up my phone, it switches over, I go to, like, my you still have to go in and tap, to change. It shows up,
Right.
but you still have to. So it's not, for me. It's like I don't feel like it's any different than if I had to go into Bluetooth and find it and pair. It doesn't feel like it's any faster. But it's good to see them do that. And as far as like the price drop, essentially it was not really a price drop. They essentially are it's the FE. The S, they learned their lesson, because like the FE was basically the S20 with a lower price last year. So this year they dropped one coming out instead of saying, "Oh, this is the FE." So what I expect actually to see, you were talking about earlier, I think the S21 FE is going to be even cheaper than the S20 FE was last year.
Well,
Right.
I talked to a guy yesterday that works for Samsung here in Dallas, and he without me asking, he told me that the S21 FE is going to be, his words, about the same price as the S20 FE.
Because it would be weird for them to drop an S21 FE and have it be like the same price as the
Right.
S21 like they did last year, just because
Right.
people will be weirded out. I got lucky. I had an S20 that I had bought. I traded in a device to Samsung. I got it for like $300, and I heard that the S20s, the S20 FE was going to come out, so I sold it to somebody for $700, which is the same price that the S20 FE was. But technically, he got a good deal because there were things better about the S20, like the build and some things like that, and the camera, some of the
Right.
camera aspects, and some things
So he
like
got a
in
good
battery,
phone.
and so he still got a good phone, and it still had warranty on it for like 6 months. So,
Well, don't forget that the FE comes out at $100 cheaper when it first drops, so it's going to be
yeah.
$599,
So
not $699. A lot of people on YouTube were, they were comparing the FE to all these other phones for the $700 price point, and I'm going, whoa, wait a second. For like a month, you could get the the FE for $599 on Amazon. So if you're smart, you're going to get it for $599, not $699.
what cracked me up was like the whole like you go on Samsung's site right now and you can get the Ultra starting at like $499 if you have the right phone to trade in. But they're trying to get people to trade in like an iPhone 12, or like
Right.
if I had bought my 12 mini and like regretted buying it, essentially I could trade it in for what I paid for it for and get that from Samsung. Like if you bought the base mini, kind of regretted your choice, you could trade that to Samsung and they give you $700 for
See,
it.
I think that's
So you'd
brilliant.
be out like $30 plus tax or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's a pretty. But what I think is weird, if you had a Samsung phone that was the same, they gave you less. Like anywhere from $100 to $200 less.
They
It's
want you
weird.
to switch. I think that's brilliant.
Hey Don, something been brought to my attention from States, and I just sent it to both of your boxes in Telegram. They said none of these models of these phones won't have the SD card support. None of them, not even the Ultra.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think they were going to have I didn't think the Ultra was going to have SD card support.
Well, and it's
Is
the
that the
only one
S?
that
Is
goes
that
to.
the Ultra?
Well,
Did he say the
Yeah.
Ultra? Or is he talking about the FE, next year's FE and last year's FE?
no,
Is
he's talking about
does the Ultra?
the S. He talking about the S21 Ultra. Sage was talking about that.
Okay.
Go into your joint and check it out.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That doesn't surprise me because that's the way they're
So
moving.
that's the case. I'm gonna have to skip this one and just go and wait for the fold to come out.
So
It don't make no sense.
anybody who's gonna shoot a lot of video, essentially they're pushing them to the Ultra because it's the only one you can get 512 gig. And like even a short video, when I do like a short 2-3 minute video for my channel, is 4 gigs. Well, you got to subtract like 40 gigs from that 512 of what's taken up from operating system and basic things. So even if you end up with like 450 gigs of, let's say 440 gigs available, you could shoot 110 videos, which seems like a lot. That's like if you don't load any games. That's if you shoot,
only short videos that length. That's if you shoot only 4K. That's if all sorts of factors. You don't shoot any photos. You don't have any music stored. You don't download any Netflix videos. There's all sorts of. So I think that's
Terry,
the
you
idea,
said
though.
You get the Fold 3.
Don't download on your Pornhub, please. Like,
I think the smart move, though, is if you don't think you're going to use a ton of storage, or you can offload often, the 256, because it's only $50 more than the 128, but you pay $130 more than that to jump up to the.
That would be the one I would like. Would be the 256.
What
I don't need
a lot of people.
I'm not a creator, so.
Yeah. So what a lot of people got annoyed with was with the Fold, was how they dropped from 512 with the original Fold to 256 on the Z Fold 2. And
but it has SD card.
That got some people. Well, because what I noticed with SD card is even if you get the fastest storage, it affects things.
Yeah, that's
so.
True.
Like if you because of the transfer speeds, because internal storage is so much faster than any SD card can get right now. And so like if you have your photos and videos set to store on external, every time you take, then there's only so much it can buffer before it has to offload, and if that offload's slower, it's going to affect your. But my question is, where's Samsung's cloud offering? Like Google did with the Pixel, Apple has iCloud. Like, where's Sam? We don't really hear them say we have some cloud storage.
They don't
free.
push
Where's
it.
Their...
They have a cloud. They don't push it though.
It's weird to me. And then they did the whole exercise thing, which was similar to like how Apple did their exercise thing and then announced that as part of Apple One, and now Samsung's like, yeah, you can use your phone and mirror it up to your TV and you can do all that. It's just weird to me. Like, I feel like they're confused about their identity in a way. Like Samsung's confused, like which direction to go, who do we compete with? And it's confusing.
They don't really need to worry about all that except for Apple, because Samsung is ruling the roost right now with Android.
Yeah. I still think. Yeah. And
performance.
That S20 FE was a hell of a deal.
All of that, what you said about the SD card is true, but get the phone in your hand and try it out and see. And I would be careful to evaluate whether or not it really impacts performance, because the performance on all of the new Galaxies are so good, undeniably.
My issue has been, and people are gonna get mad at me, but understand, I switched completely away from Apple's ecosystem and was over on Samsung and a Windows computer for like 6 to 8 months.
What made you?
But what brought me? Because I wanted to try it. I wanted to see what I would miss. Were there certain apps that I would miss? Were there certain features of like ecosystem? Well, how important was that to me? Were there certain things like, their watch, or like I got the TicWatch Pro 3 GPS was sent to me. So like, what was different? I wanted to see, like, could I stay away? What would draw me back? And the huge factor to me as a creator was the time that videos and photos took to process. Like when you snapped a photo or you took a video for it to apply the AI effects. And yes, I know the processors this year, they're talking about the whole 20% faster and 30% faster.
Twice as fast for the AI, they said this year.
And twice as fast for the AI, but like when the S20s came out last year and they were doing slower than like the iPhone, the iPhone from the previous year was doing, and they're kind of trying to catch up with some of that stuff. And I honestly feel like Samsung needs to pull away and not try to throw so much into the device. I feel like they need to focus more on some, like they like to throw the kitchen sink in there when nobody needs that.
Now the Note 21, is that Is that a done deal, or because I'm hearing some questions about whether they really are going to have a Note 21?
I think they'll continue to do the Note until they can put an S Pen inside the Fold.
Well, they're going to do that. The Z Fold 3. They are.
I think. Okay, so from what I've been hearing, I think what they're going to do this year, and this is, I think, why they did the pen with the Note 20 or the S21 Ultra, is I think they're going to do something similar with the Fold. And they're going to see if people will buy it as an external, because they're still waiting for the material to get like hard enough, stable enough, so it doesn't dent the hell out of it when you're trying to use the pen.
Like the iPad with the Apple Pen.
So I think they're going to do something similar. And then next year we'll see it. And so I think that this year we'll see we'll see a Note 21. Hopefully, I don't know. Seeing what they did, hopefully they just do a Note 21 Ultra and they drop that Note 20 plastic weirdness that they did last year. I get some people it was good, but like just offer me the same device smaller if I want it smaller. You know, so you can keep the price down. You can offer me a smaller device that's still a Note. And just because there is an advantage. You're not going to lose the pen because it's internal. You're not going to have to worry about how they didn't touch on this. How is the S Pen Pro going to charge? Like, did they tell you how that thing's going to charge? Because I don't know. They're going to do some weird crap with, with external charger, or how that's going to work. Is it going to have a spot on it that uses the reverse wireless charging on the back of the phone and sticks to it? Is there going to be a case that lines it up, kind of how like the back of my Tab S7 Plus has, where it magnetically connects to charge? I mean, it can work without that. The basic functions can, but why would you buy the Bluetooth model if you're not going to charge it and use that, And it's just weird to me. I honestly feel like Samsung got thrown off when they dropped the S10e, and Apple's then, they dropped it at the same price as the 10R, and then Apple the next year went with their 11 and dropped $50 off from it. Yeah. And then other companies started dropping really good devices at the same price point. And I think Samsung was like, how the hell are they going to keep up with this when 5G comes? Because they knew. But that was the brilliant move. Like, Apple bumped their prices up when they dropped the 10, right? $9.99 for the 10. And then the next year, everything was that price and higher. So if you watch, they did the same thing when like the first LTE iPhone came out. They would bump the price up so that when the next new technology came in, they didn't have to do a price increase.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see. I still think Samsung, somebody said this to me today, and I kind of agreed. Samsung doesn't care about the S line because their A line is the one that sells. And it's kind of true. Like, if you look at their device that sells like crazy, the S line is for like the connoisseurs of technology, or like the creators. Same thing with like the Fold and the Note. The A line is what most people are going for, and that's why you even saw like the A90 5G that had like this, that had the same internal specs as the S line, but they threw it in the A line and dropped like $200 off from it. And
well, the A line is their future S line. That's how it's been since they dropped the J line. The A line is what people want because they want next year's technology this year. And what they're getting is all of the future dreams and goals of the S line for the next year. Samsung's given a test run.
And some of them
and for a good price.
some of them it's the previous year's S line essentially thrown down, dropped in price, and brought. And that's where the FE gets confusing then, because you're like, wait a minute, I can, but I think they just need to concentrate, because last year they dropped almost 40 phones between the A line, the S line, the Note, the Fold, the multiple renditions of the A line. Like they had the A10, they did the A11 and like the A11E, the A01, the all these A42, A32, and then they have the M series, which is essentially the same as the A but overseas, and some slight changes, and it gets really confusing for.
Well, those are the ones that they're pushing for those companies like Metro, to get people that are on those plans to be interested.
Where it gets really expensive and really difficult too is like the market where T-Mobile is huge, because they'll only front up to so much of the device, so then you're putting down as much as the whole device costs to buy these things. You're putting down, because most people, they'll only front up to a certain amount, and then if you've already bought a couple devices, then you're paying the whole thing down. So like, for example, with the S21 Ultra, even the base model, if you have your entire amount open, for a lot of people, you're still looking at paying $400 or $500 down, and then however much per month. And then if you want more storage, you're essentially looking at, like, you could just buy the S21 for what you would put down. And I think that's hard, because they are growing in markets, and like around here, it's weird because I live in a rural area. For the longest time, Verizon was your only choice. Now Verizon's
what area is that?
I live in a small town halfway between Lansing and Grand Rapids in Michigan.
Oh yeah. I remember going to Montana. I had Boost Mobile, and I drove through it. I couldn't use Boost at all until I got to Colorado Lane, Idaho, and see it in Spokane, Washington.
And it used to be, if you went too far south in Michigan, or too far, or like if you went north of Grand Rapids and went about like south of Lansing area, because Lansing's kind of south, and Grand Rapids is kind of north, and at like an angle almost upward. If you went north of Grand Rapids by like 20 miles and south of Lansing by like 20 miles, there was like a line that you went across that T-Mobile would drop at.
But
you had to have Verizon or AT&T. Here you had to have Verizon to get any signal at all. Now it's really weird, because like the rural areas, I found that I'm getting coverage the same across all three, but my speeds will actually be better on T-Mobile. And that 5G actually exists and matters. That's weird to me. Like, significantly different. Like, I've had it be like in our house. I was using Wi-Fi calling and texting for everything up until a couple months ago, and now like 5G picks up. It's not super fast, but at least I get signal. It's like 20 megs at good time, but at least I get signal, right? And we have an older house, which blocks a lot of things anyways. But to worry about, I'm gonna be inside somewhere, or I'm gonna walk up to the garage and disconnect from Wi-Fi, and I won't be able to get a call because I won't have service, is not good. But for them to now have expanded, and I think that's the advantage that we're going to see with this 5G too. Doesn't have anything to do with speeds necessarily, as much as the number of devices that can be handled. And it's weird to me, but it's pretty awesome. It's weird.
They're gonna be able to pick you up, like if it put infrared on you, they know where you're walking at. That's how that's gonna happen with this 5G.
Well, technically speaking, if you So actually, T-Mobile announced they were the first carrier to support 911 over Wi-Fi calling and location, where like if you call and you're on Wi-Fi and you call 911, it can triangulate between the network that you're connected to and other networks around you to pinpoint. So let's say you're inside, there's a fire, you call 911, you're on Wi-Fi, the house collapses and they're trying to find you. They can triangulate, they can pinpoint down, they can narrow it down. I think it's to within like uh 10 centimeters, so about 4 inches of your location.
Wow.
And with ultra wideband technology, which I noticed something. It seems like all of the phones this year are like, I didn't notice a Verizon like upcharge. Like usually there's like a 50, $150, upcharge to go to the millimeter wave and the ultra wideband on Verizon. I didn't notice any difference in there.
Welcome, C, over to the chat.
Yo, how do I sound? Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you pretty good. I want to hear your opinion on this whole thing.
Oh, well, I didn't even watch the Unpacked event. Like, I was sleeping.
You was? Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even. What was it for the 20 series? I got up early to see it, but I just like the design of the S21 devices in that price range. That's going to be a huge flop this year, man. That's going to be
Yes,
a
it
huge
is.
flop this year.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
That's gonna be a huge flop this year. I think a lot of people might just get the S21 or the Plus and just pass on the Ultra.
Or the
And
FE.
a lot of people probably might just hold out and just skip it if they got the S20, or just get the S20 series and just wait for the Fold or the Note for this year.
They from the predictions I heard was that the whole entire S21 line will sell less than the worst selling iPhone 12 will sell. Just
Yeah.
one of those this year. Their whole line. So like the 12 mini they said did like poor compared to the other ones, will still be better than the whole entire S21 line, which
that's in
says a lot.
America.
This
That's
is
in
going to
America.
be.
In the world, I think it's not going to be like that because the Exynos is coming back. The Europeans are liking that, and I think that's going to be true for the United States. But
So I heard that the Exynos was only for the 4G models, though. So if you enter in an area and you want the 5G models, then they were going to be doing the Snapdragon internationally now with that.
okay,
And some areas you won't have a choice. Like they'll do kind of like here, where you can import if you really want, but it'll just be like, oh, our carriers are 5G, and this is what we're giving you, and
Yeah.
and it'll be interesting to see. Also, how expensive though, because I've seen some other countries that are showing like the cost of the Ultra like 16.99 euros or something like that.
Wow.
I was like, damn, you can buy the Fold, the Z Fold
Yeah.
too.
No. Facts.
Literally.
Like me too. Like I'm about to ship out my old Fold for the Z Fold 2 because they still giving you $1,000 for the OG Fold.
They are? Wow.
Yeah, for the OG Fold. And remember, I bought the OG Fold for under $1,000, right? So if you can send in the OG Fold, and they knock off $1,000 on the Z Fold too.
that's right. That's what they do with those trade-ins.
And they
So
have
I'm
that
like,
deal.
so now I'm like, shit, I might just do that before they release news on the Fold 3, because then that price, that trade-in price for the OG Fold is going to drop.
I wonder how many people took advantage of the whole deal that they had. Well, I was on Samsung's site, and some carriers had the deal too, where they guaranteed half your money back. Because
I didn't see that. Half your money back for which phone?
So like when the Z Fold 2 came out, I was looking and I almost did this because essentially they would have paid me to have the phone. So I was going to trade in a device, and the total. So they were going to give me a really good deal on trade-in. So the total that I would have had to pay out was $600, but they would guarantee me 1,000 trade-in at a year. So essentially, when like the Z Fold 3 came out, I would have gotten $1,000. So they would have essentially paid me $400 to have had that phone for a year.
I think
Because I would have only paid,
That's good.
That's good.
Smart.
I think a lot of people are going to see the actual real value that came from the S20 from the 20 series when the 21 series phones come to the market. People gonna realize the value for that from the 20 series phones. And I was talking to some people on Twitter, and even the design, like I truly do not like the design of the 21, man. Like I really don't. I think at this point the design in phones is dead. Like that's a dead issue. They practically just all look the same at this point. Ain't nothing else that can really be done design wise. Because that the 21 series looks like some of the Pixel phones. To be honest with you,
Damn,
the
I ain't think about it that way. That's you do make a point. Even though I don't like the Pixel 5, don't they should have made that bigger. When they didn't make that Pixel 5 bigger, it pissed me off. You know? So there's your difference right there.
Yeah, if you took that multi-textured backing that the older Pixels had, and then just rotated it so that it's one texture where the cameras are and the other where the body is, essentially it was the. And I think there was I couldn't remember when they showed that. It gave me like flashbacks from a phone from like 2006 or something that had that weird where they did that with it, and it was like it was supposed to make it easier to hold, and then like you knew your hand was covering where the camera was because it was a different texture. And it was, when they weren't, it was when they had media phones before there were smartphones,
How many cameras is confirmed on the S21? I mean, on the Ultra.
So there's 4 on the back, and then you have the 1 on the front.
4 fucking cameras, and I bet the only good camera is the main one.
So you have the main, and then you have so the Ultra has the 108, and then there's, I can't remember the resolution of the other ones, but there's 2 of them. One's a 3x and one's a 10x optical zoom. And we were talking, it's just weird how they're going to handle that. I think it's going to make issues more complicated, like the transition when you're doing video, because there's another lens for it to jump to, and like the distance that they are, and now you have a whole line of them. And
I say we wait and see on that. I think they're gonna be good cameras, but we'll see. It might turn out to be that way.
I mean, the 20 series has 3 cameras, right? 1, 2, like it has 3 cameras. The main is good. The 108 megapixel is 50-50 with that. We've taken pictures with that one. And the wide angle is good because it's a wide angle, and that's about it. So now they have now they got 4 cameras. Now they got 4 cameras on the phone. And I'm pretty sure maybe 1, if not 2 of the cameras on the phone are going to be really good. And the other 2 are just going to probably be like serviceable marketing just to say they got 4 cameras.
Yeah, because everybody's going to 4 cameras, all the flagships.
What I wish they would have done with the 108, how it can combine pixels to a 12, is they should have given you an option to also like choose to have that, instead of combining 9, combine 3 pixels and have like a higher 36 megapixel or something like that. Give an option to choose how many it combines. So if you're in an area that's kind of mid-light, but you want a higher resolution than 12 because you're going to crop in, you could combine 3 pixels, which would still give you the advantage of combining to help with low light, but you're not in like an area where you need to combine so many because it's not extremely dark to have an option like that. And I don't even think like pro mode or like third-party cameras have access to them. That was good to see, though, the whole thing with Snapchat and Instagram having access to actually the effects and the full camera stuff was good to finally see, because that was the one. Like, there were people buying the cheapest iPhone because of that simple reason of the cameras are the same. You didn't get knocked down to like some just straight up trash, like whatever they chose to have it come out as.
Okay,
You
that's
can
cool.
actually use the lenses and like built into the camera app, to be able to shoot and have it go straight to it. Now, the thing that kind of misleading to me was the whole, and they did it before where they said, "Oh yeah, you can, how you could record straight to YouTube or stream right to the YouTube." Yeah, only if you can do that normally. Not everybody can. You have to have the 1,000 subs and be monetized and all that. So that's kind of like a not everybody can do that. So that was a little funky to me to say that, but you know.
Yep. So my thing is S21 flop. I'm not getting none of them. Now that I found out what the real truth is, none of them go have an SD card slot. What's the point? Might as well go ahead get a fold. You know what I mean? And they've been making
The
this
phone
point
got
for
an
like
SD
6
card
months
slot, right?
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to see. I'm going to wait for the 3 to come out. That's what I'm going to wait for.
You're not
You know
gonna
what I
get
mean?
the 3.
So
Stop
therefore,
you ain't gonna get the 3. Stop it.
No, I'm not. I'm already prepared for it. You should know how it works, dude.
You gonna trade? You gonna trade that in for the
I'm not
3,
trading
man?
in no phones. You got Verizon, I got Verizon. You know how this shit is set up.
You gonna do the? I mean, you still gotta pay a down payment, boy.
Not just pay a phone off. You pay a phone off, they give you another phone. When you pay a phone off, the phone comes off the contract. You just choose if you want to keep it in that SD card or not.
You go into Verizon and you want a phone, you walk out with a phone. If your bill is paid.
Exactly.
I got the promotion when I switched, because I had last year I left T-Mobile and went to Verizon. So when I went to Verizon, I read right when they dropped the Note 20, and I have a lot of promotional credits on my account for the Note 20 because I switched. And I think I would lose all of those if I just paid it off ASAP. But I'm kind of okay with that, because I have no interest in the 3. I would want to wait and see what that is. So I kind of just set my targets on the Fold too. And the funny thing about the Fold is that it would be 50-50 if I would want to use it as a daily driver, to be honest with you. But on certain occasions, if I was to go out somewhere and I wanted to actually shelf the Note 20, like I would go out with the Fold, the Z Fold too. But as a main daily driver, like everyday use, nah, I think my SIM card would still stay in the Note 20.
Exactly. I agree 300% with you with that. You know what I mean? But you still got your SD card slot in your these phones, these S20 Ultras, you can actually run a business off of them. That's what you can actually do with these type of phones, especially you have a 512 model. There's some people even running companies off of these damn phones, even with the Apple Pro Maxes too, even with the regular Apples too. Don't you got big space in it, you can run a company off of it.
And you could do business with any phone though, like, because that's what a lot of these phones got the power to multitask and run different applications. You can do business on any phone.
Right, exactly.
I'm waiting
Like
for the
LG,
Z
like
Fold
my
3 to.
you got the wallet.
I'm waiting for the Z Fold
You got
3
the
to come
wallet.
out just so the Z Fold 2 will drop in price, because there'll be people around here selling it for the Z Fold 2 for like $600-700. They did the same thing when the original Fold came out. Yeah, I know the Z
Nah, I
Fold
don't
2 is
think,
better,
man.
but there's people around here that do that because they get like deals. So they got like buy one get one free on shit, and they just pay.
Yeah.
And
$700 though.
yeah,
Better be mint condition. Better be mint condition.
I know somebody that sold the
Not
Z
my.
Fold 2, the Z Fold 2 already for $800, and all it had was a scratch on the side that could only be seen when you took a photo of it with a camera, but like to the naked eye, you couldn't really
You
tell
talking
anything was
about
there.
Swapper?
No, somebody on Twitter sold one
Somebody on
with a
Twitter. What's
case.
that?
You talking about TK's? The one that, no, not the one TK was selling.
No, there was somebody else that had one up for a brief
Oh,
amount of time. I can't remember who it was,
because
but
TK was selling one for $700. I was like, damn, but it had like a crackhead dent. I was like, damn.
yeah, that one was pretty bad. He had a couple others that were decent, but there was
Yeah, he
somebody
had a
else that
couple of
had
them.
one
Yeah,
that was like I'd pay $100 more for the ones that the other guys had because they
yeah.
was like basically perfect condition and they had a case and everything for it, and it's like
Yeah, I definitely
for a third of the price.
yeah.
Basically, after you threw in the case in there and like the taxes you would pay, here 6% tax, so you know you're talking like $2,100 after tax plus the cost of the case. So, you drop that down, to $700, $800, almost a third of the cost.
Yeah.
You know,
Cause the and just for a mini flex with the OG with the Z Fold 2, I'd have like the entire 20 series lineup of Samsung phones all in Mystic Bronze. Damn. And the 7 Mystic Bronze, the 20 Ultra, 20 Ultra Mystic Bronze, and the Z Fold 2 Mystic Bronze.
but unless somebody like drops me a crap ton of money in my Cash App or something, or I happen to
Right?
stumble on a suitcase of money, this is I mean, I'm not going anywhere from the Note 20 Ultra. I don't need to. I mean, wireless DeX is awesome. Wired
Yeah, it's
DeX is
nice.
awesome.
It's nice.
I literally did a live stream the other day with this plugged into. I got the LG Ergo 27-inch 1440p monitor. It has the single USB-C cable that can power. You can power everything. So I had my keyboard and my mouse plugged in, plugged this in, put it on a tripod in front, and did a whole live stream on StreamYard from it, and nobody could tell because the autofocus is awesome. I could flip it around so I can see, because I can see myself, see up what's going on the monitor. I can split screen,
Now we're talking.
and I could use the back cameras, and you get the focus from that. And nobody could tell that I wasn't using like my Sony A6100. A matter of fact, it was better because the light was better, the focus is better. There's no delay because it's direct from it. Where you plugging in a camera and it's using USB and micro USB connection, and then you have the delay through everything and through software. Just pop that right on there. And then when I was done, I took it off. It was fully charged because the monitor provides up to 60 watts. And the thing was barely warm. And I have my microphone, my XLR microphone through my audio interface connected up. So,
How'd you connect? You connected the audio interface to the monitor?
yep.
How?
Because it has 2 USB ports on the back. So I ran one to that. And then I had a USB hub for my keyboard and mouse through the other USB port, because there's only 2 USB ports on the thing. And
So the monitor can use the audio interface to boost the audio for the phone?
essentially the audio interface, my AKG P120 microphone through XLRs run into the back of the monitor, and then my keyboard and mouse were plugged into a hub and into the back of the monitor, and then the phone's just plugged into the USB cable. So everything that's plugged into the monitor runs into the phone and it shows up.
Oh, okay.
Just like if I plug I got the M1 MacBook Air, the base model, same thing as if I plug that in. So,
Michael Pepper, I want to ask you, for your S20 Ultra, what's the filming software that you use? And you too, Silver, since y'all both had.
I haven't filmed anything on my Note 20 Ultra like using an app, but when I did, when I was using it, I use the Filmic Pro and the stock camera app.
I love the stock camera app anyway. Go ahead, Mike.
When I shot footage on mine, I just used the stock one because of like the pro modes and like you got like the fake bokeh, the live focus, and to test stuff like that. Because like Filmic Pro isn't as good on Android as it is on iPhone. Well, it makes sense because they have to make it so it works on all of them, and you're talking about thousands of different variants of camera hardware and stuff. So they have to make it so it will work with specific. So like if Samsung went to them and said, "Hey, would you make an app for our Samsung devices?" They would probably do it. Now they would charge enough. Where like with an iPhone, it's all they have to do is update it, and it works for all the. But I don't usually. It's funny. I don't usually use because I still have a weird issue with and I don't have like an external microphone or anything for my phone. I still have a weird popping issue that will happen when I'm recording audio. I don't know if you like that happened with the Note 8, the Note 9, the Note 10 Plus, and my Note 20 still does it every once in a while. There's be this weird, like a audible pop every so many seconds. And you can't really edit it out because it's with my voice. So you'd edit out, you'd edit out the voice, and yeah, I can do like background noise and stuff like that. But I use my iPhone just because I can then AirDrop it, and it's full. It's right there. Or
well, iPhone wouldn't even work until the update on StreamYard. So it was messing up.
Yeah, that was weird.
Till 14.3.
Yeah, that was a StreamYard thing, though. It was weird.
Yeah, but the user has to deal with that, regardless of who the source is, who's messing up.
But like right now, I'm using my front camera from my iPhone 12 mini as my webcam, hooked up through my MacBook with Epoch Cam. And like I can use the back one and it would be a little bit better, but I wanted to see the front in case like notification comes through, I can just swipe it out and not have it interrupt anything. But I like it because it can be like I have it hardwired in right now, so there's not going to be delay, but it can also be over Wi-Fi, and like for top-down cam stuff would be really nice. And technically I could have multiple of them if I wanted to run it through OBS and into here, but that's just complicated. I don't need to do that. You don't need to see me from like 7 different angles.
Wow. So fellas, I'm just gonna go ahead and like let y'all know S20's a no buy. So and everybody in here, what is S21. It? A buy for y'all or no buy?
S21?
Yeah.
Ultra. Nah, that's a huge dub.
That's this a major dub. This is 2021. We've got a lot of choices coming out, guys. A lot of choices. A lot of good choices.
Here's where I would say it might be. If you are on a contract where you're paying monthly and they have like a really good deal and you're coming from like an older like maybe a S8 or S9, but like the S10 or S20 series, I don't know that I would look at it yet.
If you have an S20, there is literally no logical option. There's no logical reason for you to go to the S21 when you're going to be losing features with the S21. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. So if you have an older device,
money, you're going to pay more money to lose features. That shit is that's mind blowing for me. I don't understand that one. I mean, if your thing is to just buy the phones to review them because you make content, that's one thing, right? But outside of that, like it doesn't make sense to me.
It don't make sense to me either because you're not getting no SD card slot. So when you run out of space, you pretty much ass out. Then all your information in the cloud for everybody to damn say, even the government.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if so. if you were looking and let's say your carrier goes, oh, you know, we have, because like AT&T, Verizon's done it, T-Mobile's done it. They've done buy one get one plus like $300 off, and you're coming from an older phone. I mean, that can be a hell of a deal, especially considering they're even giving decent trade-in on like the 10 series devices. I mean, if you went and you were looking at, you know,
So yeah, is
a
this
couple
none of
of
the
that.
models? None of the models have SD cards.
Nope.
Not even the Ultra Plus Super Max.
Nope.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Yo,
It
that
says
makes
confirmed that to me. He sent me the information on that. I could send you
I mean,
information on that
yeah.
too.
no.
And I looked
I
into it
can
myself. That he sent it.
No, I literally just haven't even watched the YouTube video on the S21 because I just hate that fucking design so much. I think the shit is trash.
I mean,
I haven't even watched the video on it. I didn't know that until people were talking about it yesterday.
they didn't even announce any like new feature. You know how when the Note 20 was announced, they announced the whole wireless DeX thing, and then that ended up getting brought to other devices. And then usually, a lot of times when the S phone comes out, they'll announce some like new. They talked about One UI 3, which like my phone already has. A lot of people's phones already have. They didn't announce anything new. They didn't announce like a 3.1 or a 3.5 or anything.
No.
It was weird.
They did improve the zoom camera though.
I did notice the One UI 3, the video and photos on my Note look a lot better. Like the HDR on the front and the back looks a lot better, but their night mode still needs a lot of work. I can say that.
Night mode, man. Like, I mean, it is what it is with night mode, man. Like, honestly, like if you can get a picture and you see the moon, you know, God bless, right? Like I don't know what else. I don't know what else to expect from night mode, man. I think night photography for a lot of cameras is still in my eyes boo boo because my eye is more used to using a DSLR or mirrorless camera when it comes to taking pictures at night.
Yeah.
So if I can get a nice little shot and it looks usable at night, I'm fine with it. Like, but the comparison with night photography, in my eyes, a lot of the night photography with these cell phones, Pixel, iPhone included, it just looks, it just looks boo boo to me. If I want a night picture, I'd use a DSLR mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
But
even like
you're
to
right
me,
about that.
To
I was
me,
looking to give me a GoPro. That's what I'm looking for. Go right ahead, Mike.
To me, the huge deal is I have a just over 2.5-year-old little boy, and if I can have all the lights on the house and he's running around, I go to snap a photo, and all you see is something that looks like the blur running across in front of you. That's not good. Like, I should be able to at least catch, with all the lights on like that, and bright lights and stuff, something usable. And even if he's pretty still and just moving a little bit, I should be able to capture something. And hopefully we'll see improvements with that, because that would be nice. But like you said,
man, I think phones are kind of at their peak, man. Like
I just pull out my A6100 and grab my 31.4 and blast away, because that thing you could be in pitch black and pretty much capture. So
yeah, man, I think the phone's been at their peak for almost 4 years now, man. They I mean, we're at the peak. We're at the peak of phones, right? Like I had Sneed on my channel a few months ago, and we were talking about this. And at this point, like, I want to see more innovation in the battery technology, to be honest with you. Like, that's why I want to see the real innovations. I don't even care that much. I don't even care if they put a 200 megapixel camera in a phone. I want to see battery technology.
And I think the whole reason that Qualcomm announced the whole 4-year support thing on Android devices, with operating system now requiring, is because the hardware isn't changing much anymore. so it makes it easier for them to support it. And you're even seeing like One UI 3.0 going back to what, S9 series now, and like 2.5 back to like the S8 series or something. So like you're even seeing Samsung dropping features to phones that are 2-3 years old already now.
Yeah.
And that says that hardware hasn't changed, because if it's changed substantial, they can't do that. They're not gonna want to make it a horrible experience. Well, that maybe they would. Never mind, because we've seen that before. Where like I've seen it before, where an update. I almost left Samsung and didn't buy another device after the Note 8, because when they went from 8.1 to the original One UI 1.0, my battery life got racked. Like I was getting 12, 14 hours of screen on time, and it went down to like 6 or 7. And I even reverted that software back, and they forced updates through. Like automatically would install if they forced it. So I got the Note 9, and the exact same fucking thing happened a month after when an update went. And I said, fine, I'll give it another try. The Note 10 Plus finally was good. The only reason I went to the 20 was we changed carriers.
No, I didn't like the Note 10 Plus, man. I tested out the Note 10 Plus, man. I sent that shit back and kept my ROG phone too. I didn't like the Note 10 Plus.
So, but it finally gave me some of the things I was looking for: the better battery life and good cameras and things like that I was looking for. The reason why I always kept was using two phones and carried my iPhone for my video and had there for battery life and things like that was because I couldn't find. Now I can carry my Note and just be fine. So.
Two things I'd like to say about this iteration of the Galaxy is the display technology is still getting better and better. And if you have a regular user that's on a Verizon plan or a T-Mobile, and they get this device, are they going to be happy with it? That's a question we should address. I'd say they're going to be very happy with it. The display is just amazing, and they did the quad HD resolution with the 120 hertz refresh. That didn't have that on the Note 20 Ultra. Now, whether or not the battery is going to last, that's another question. We don't know yet, but I think the Exynos battery probably even be better because of the way that it'll be optimized. But I think for the common user that wants a premium phone, they're going to be happy with it. I don't want to gloss over that fact. Us techies, we're comparing them to the other devices we have. But I think that Samsung's display is still gonna bring it, and people like that.
So, I think the common user would be highly disappointed with the S21. See, the thing we say that common user thing because a lot of people that buy tech, like we think that people are into tech, like they're looking at more than the phone, right? But I would consider myself a common user because I don't buy a whole bunch of phones all the time. Yeah, and I hold my phones for very long. So from my perspective, I would be highly disappointed with the S21, even coming from a Note 8, right? Like, say if I didn't get the Note 20 and traded in my Note 8, and now I'm looking at the S21 series, I would be disappointed because I would be upgrading and losing my SD card slot. And there's a lot of people who need that feature because of how much media they consume. And not everyone wants to have everything that has access in the cloud. A lot of people feel more secure with having information on a card that they could take out their phone and put it into a computer and swap it out like that.
Yeah, your point's well taken. However, the Note 8, I got the Note 8, and the battery is trash. What do you say about the battery?
Well, I say if the battery's trash, then you get rid of it and get a Note 9 or a Note 10.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would say the person, if they really need an SD card slot, like a person like me, then the S21 series is a complete pass.
Yeah. You got the Note 9 selling for $475 now for the 512 on Amazon.
Yeah. Facts.
So I gotta say something real quick, and then I gotta go. My son's just waking up from his nap, so I gotta go grab him in a sec. But
I'm about to hang it up within 5 minutes anyway.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I've been getting the business hits, everything.
Okay.
Now that I'm not buying S21, I'm gonna go ahead and get me. I'm about to go out and get the mid-range phone that I'm gonna go and get.
So
this
all these companies pitched 5G on these phones. Right? All these companies are
you can kiss that goodbye. Now I'm going to invest into my filming equipment.
All these companies
I'm investing in my 5G. Filming equipment. What's the use? I'm gonna save my over. You understand where I'm coming from? I'm gonna save my Verizon. I'm gonna save my Verizon credit for the C3. That's what I'm gonna save.
I understand that Michael Pepper's trying to say something so he can get off the live stream.
Oh, go right here, Michael Pepper. Yeah, go right here. I got to my moment.
So all these companies pitched 5G as one of the huge upgrades, right? And then they pitch this great video quality that you can shoot on your devices, and you're going to be able to supposedly, upload this and send it to people like crazy fast. But 5G isn't there yet. But here's the thing: even if you're in an area where it is, what do all carriers have in common? They stick us with 480p video streaming on like Netflix and YouTube and stuff. So you have this beautiful 1440p or even 1080p display, but all you're stuck is streaming at 480p 30 frames per second on all these services. And then they say, oh, we'll give it to you for free. Well, no shit, you will, because guess what? You're not even using advantage of that high quality Netflix unless you're at home. And you're not even using advantage of the 5G, and you're not even using the advantage of the display. So, when people were criticizing the iPhone, when people were criticizing like the iPhone XR and the iPhone 11 with having a 750p LCD display, most people, that's all they were using, because they were buying like the base plans of Netflix, or a lot of the YouTube videos are still 720p. And some people have issues with OLED because it affects their eyes and stuff because of how dark and how bright it can get, and like the PWM, the pulse width modulation, it has to do with the frequency in which it refreshes and how it refreshes, and like the tonality differences between that and LCD. So that being said, it's gimmicks that they're selling, and Samsung fell into it this year just as well as Apple did, and that's a shame. So thanks for having me on.
So pretty much Samsung became Apple's bitch.
It's bound to happen.
Well, guys, I'm gonna get on out
now
of here.
Now they going down to 2.
Now
they're gonna be on their knees.
You gonna let me finish?
I'll let you speak.
Don't let me finish. I'll have y'all later. I'm gonna get up here. I'll catch you later, Keystone. Peace.
Peace. Say what I want to say your last. So I want all y'all say your last words on this. Start with.
Well, it's a disappointment. All right.
If you need a new phone because it's time for you to upgrade, because you have a 3 or 4 year old phone, you can get a good deal, go for the newest. If not, and you can find a good deal on a used, I would say the phones from last year, with the exception, even the S20 Ultra improved. The Note 20 Ultra, the S20 FE, you'll find deals on that. But if you're stuck through your carrier, like so many people are, and they finally paid off their last payments from 30 months ago or whatever, it's not a bad device.
Yeah.
But it's not for everybody, and there's much better deals you can find out there for way less. And so that's the thing. We have to remember, it's not for the people that like tech like we do. We have to think of it through a different mindset. and it's good with what it is, but then they're pitching too many things that aren't for the typical user. They're not going to shoot 8K. They're not going to remember that they can grab stills at 33 megapixels. They're not going to care about 5G because it's probably not even going to be in most of their markets. And they're paying for all of that they're not using. They should just go buy a $600 S20 FE, and they still get the 5G. They still get a beautiful display. They still get great cameras. And most of all, it's a big couple of these to Samsung.
Got dual ones. Now you're next, Don. Now speak your opinion. Rip him a new asshole. Like
Peace out. I gotta go.
Bye-bye. It's a good device, powerful device, lacking SD card support. There's so many other options you can get from last year. Like he said, I do agree with him. If you're ready to upgrade, you won't be disappointed. But I do think the S20 FE, what's coming, the S21 FE is a much better buy for the techie.
Exactly. So pretty much they're just gonna flop. And that's why
Samsung still
right up there.
Yeah, that's right. This could be a flop. Samsung's still going strong though because their position in the world market, thanks to Huawei's going down. But I think for all the reasons that we've been talking about, it'd be a much smarter buy to go with even an older Note device with less SD card and storage options. And I would wait till the S21 FE if you want that hardiness. You don't want the glass to break and all that. Even the S20 FE is a much better buy.
Perfect way to end this. The perfect way to end this today. I'm going to say my last opinions.
Yeah.
I had to go with the second plan. I went back to the first plan, thinking this thing is going to have an SD card. Now I'm back to the first plan. It's no buy for me, and that's all I got to say about it. Y'all took the words out of my mouth. Good job, Don. Man. Good job, Michael Pepper. Good job, C Over. That's all. We're going to call out who was in here. Big Dog, you made us laugh in here and stuff like that. Good jokes, man. He said more about you. Oh man. He gave us some good laughs today, Big Dog. You know what I'm saying? And so Scholars gave us some good opinions. Wait the hell up 7. Rollo gave us some good things. He said Samsung is expanding his horizon, trying to separate from companies like Amazon, who became #1 delivering packages. And Apple will not be as expensive as Apple, more affordable. However, Samsung has more to offer in terms of features. You know what I'm saying? That's what the hell true. 7 said about that. You know what I'm saying? Then who else did we have here? We had Alan in here saying why no SD card. We had Sage up in here. They do not. You know what I mean? He exposed the whole fucking deal. You know what I mean? And that changed the tone of the video when that was brought to my attention. And Big Dog in his comments. And let me see pretty much who else I'm going to see in here. Old Donna just being real, speaking to me. Happy New Year, baby doll. And said to the chat too. And Danini, that's all. Which Danini, next time Danini want to talk some tech, I'll bring her in here. All right, because she's pretty. Danini's very smart. She's very smart. That's what it is, you know. So as far as that, I salute you, Don. It was pretty good talking to y'all and stuff like that. And what you want to say to the audience? Do you have anything you want to say to Big Dog? We're going to do that way.
Beta. You better go get the trash out for your wife, Beta.
And we're out. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.